Captain Finian looked at the photo he took and smiled. Another great shot of a colorful nebula, or as Quixley liked to call them, baby stars. There weren't many photographers that had the privilege of traveling the universe for their art, and Captain Finian felt very lucky every time he got to capture a new scene from space or on far-off planets. "Did you get a good shot of him, sir?" asked Quixley, his trusty alien assistant. Quixley had 4 arms, 3 eyes, and 2 antennae that could both hear and smell. His green skin pulled all the features together rather nicely, and his knowledge of space, along with his quirky personality, made him the perfect intergalactic photographer's assistant. "Yep, it was a great one," Captain Finian replied. "This one is definitely going in the portfolio?" "Wahooey!" Quixley yelled. "I'll go grab the printer and supplies." He then ran out of the room so fast that he crashed into the wall on the way out. But that didn't slow him down. He just bounced off and kept running further into the spaceship like nothing happened. Captain Finian chuckled to himself as he uploaded the picture from his camera to the digital portfolio. He had tried to explain to Quixley a dozen times that they didn't need a physical portfolio. It was all stored and organized on the intergalactic web. But Quixley either didn't understand or he didn't care. He loved printing out each successful shot and putting them in his homemade scrapbook-style portfolio. A couple minutes later, Quixley bumbled back into the room with his book, a printer, some cords, and a bottle of glue-like substance all in his arms. He sat them down and got to work attaching the camera and printer together with the cord so he could print the picture. After muttering some alien curse words when the printer wasn't cooperating, he finally got it to work and he printed out a beautiful, detailed copy of the nebula picture Captain Finian had taken moments before. "Ooh, boy, it's a beaut, this one is." "Well done, Captain, well done," Quixley said, admiring the photo. "Thank you, Quixley," Captain Finian said as his alien friend was pasting the picture onto the second-to-last page of his book. "Oh dear," Quixley remarked, seeing how close the book was to being full. "I need to add more pages. I'll go get the materials now." He was just about to run out of the room again when Captain Finian stopped him. "Wait, no need, Quixley. Your book has the perfect number of pages. I'm only planning on taking one more picture on this trip. Then our portfolio will be complete." "Wowza," Quixley responded enthusiastically. "Only one more picture? That's incredible. Do you have any grand plans on what you want it to be?" "Indeed I do, Quixley. Indeed I do. I've heard rumors of a small planet on the far side of this galaxy that has the most beautiful, colorful, breathtaking scenes when timed just right. It's unlike anything I've ever photographed. It's going to be the perfect way to wrap up our collection." "Well then, heidi-ho, let's go," Quixley said. "How do we get there?" "We need to go to coordinates," Captain Finian started to say before pausing and looking at Quixley strangely. "Heidi-ho, let's go? Where did that come from?" Quixley shrugged all 4 shoulders. "I thought we needed a cool catchphrase for when we go on our travels. That's what I came up with. Do you like it?" "Well, if you're looking for something cool, I think you've missed the mark just a tad." Quixley muttered in response, deep in thought. He then perked up. "Wooden paddle, let's skedaddle." He looked at Captain Finian expectantly. Let's just stick with the heidi-ho one," Captain Finian said, holding back a laugh. He got a kick out of his goofy assistant, but he was also an important figure in intergalactic space travel and photography. He had to at least try to maintain his serious reputation. "Anyway," Captain Finian continued, looking down at a nearby screen with a map and lots of numbers on it, "we need to head to coordinates 8,328.9293 tex 103829, 8,475y 920001, 7,401z. That's where the closest wormhole is to make the jump." Quixley's eyes got huge in fright. "Sir, you don't mean wormhole 82D27FWW4Ks, do you?" Captain Finian referred to his screen again, impressed as always at his green friend's ability to memorize such complicated numbers. "Yes, it appears that's exactly the one. Why do you ask?" Quixley gulped. "Sir, that wormhole is known as the Widowmaker. If we miscalculate the jump by even just 1/10 of a degree, We'll be blown to smithereens. It's far too dangerous. Captain Finian smiled confidently, and he sat down in his captain's seat to steer the ship towards the wormhole. It's called the Widowmaker, huh? Well, it's a good thing neither of us are married. It can't make widows by destroying us. Besides, what's space travel without a little danger? Quixley nervously took his seat next to the captain. Safe, healthy, preferable, he answered, his antennae quivering in fear. Are you sure you don't want to just take the next wormhole? 71 D79 US 6KP is quite reliable. I'd much prefer that. Captain Finian rolled his eyes. Quixley, wormhole 71D79, whatever is over 4 months away at hyperspeed. This one is 30 minutes from here. We'll be fine. With my piloting skills and your calculations, we'll make it through easy. So start working your numbers because we're taking this wormhole. Quixley nodded and quickly went to work typing out all sorts of information into his screen. If they were going to take this one, he might as well make sure they were as prepared as possible. They both worked in silence over the next 25 minutes as they approached the wormhole, focused on making a perfect jump. Captain Finian liked to take risks, but he didn't like to die. He wanted to make sure they did this right. Okay, Captain, Quixley said, breaking the silence as they neared the wormhole. You need to approach at a 36.8274920 degree angle. Do you want me to input that into your auto drive? That would be perfect. Thank you, Quixley, Captain Finian replied. The alien quickly typed in some more numbers, and the spaceship started adjusting its approach on its own. We need to stay exactly on the course I've sent over to your screen, Quixley said in a serious tone, unusual for the quirky alien. If we veer off even a finger's width from that course, we're goners. The autodrive doesn't have that sort of precision near wormholes because of the way the energy messes with our systems. You'll have to do it manually. Are you sure you can do this? I'm as sure as I'll ever be. Systems all look good, and I'm ready to take the finest picture this universe has ever seen. Let's do this. Captain Finian pushed forward on the thrusters, sending them flying towards the wormhole. Hi-dee-ho, let's go, Quixley squealed with all the courage he could muster. As they approached the wormhole, their whole ship began to shake. But Captain Finian didn't know if it was the wormhole or the quaking alien next to him that was causing the turbulence. Either way, he stayed right on course and skillfully entered the wormhole at the perfect angle and position. Before he knew it, they were flying around completely different stars on the other end of the galaxy. We did it, he yelled, turning to give Quixley a triumphant high five. The green assistant, however, was out cold, having fainted from fear upon entering the portal. Captain Finian smiled and steered their ship towards the mysterious little planet that would hopefully provide the perfect finishing piece to his intergalactic portfolio. They were still several days away at hyperspeed, so he put the ship in autodrive and went to prepare his cameras for the perfect picture. The days passed quickly, and before they knew it, they were approaching the small, colorful planet. Captain Finian had done his research, and he knew that he had to be at the perfect spot at the perfect time to get the beautiful shot he was dreaming of. So they stayed in orbit around the planet for a full day to make sure they knew where and when to go. Once they had everything ready, they entered the planet's atmosphere and flew to a large field with massive mountains in the distance. All right, Quixley, put on your space gear and grab the extra cameras. It's time to capture the most beautiful shot ever taken, Captain Finian said excitedly, putting on his gear to survive the atmosphere that would surely be toxic to them. Oh, buddy, oh boy, I can't wait, Quixley said with a smile that lit up all three of his eyes. He was back to his joyful old self now that they were safe from the Widowmaker. Once they had everything ready, they exited the ship and set up the cameras for the perfect picture. Captain Finian pointed towards the planet's sun. Do you see that, Quixley? When the sun sets between those two mountain peaks, it supposedly lights up the sky like nothing you've ever seen. I reckon we've got about 20 minutes before it happens, so watch it closely. It might be the only time we see such a beautiful sight. You don't want to miss it. Quixley nodded and looked up at the sky, ready to see what he'd only ever heard of. As they watched, the sky started to change. First, it went orange, then red, then pink, and then a combination of all those colors over most of the sky. The clouds reflected the hues perfectly, adding large, fluffy bursts of color to the already painted sky. Neither Captain Finian nor Quixley spoke, both understanding that no words could describe the masterpiece they were watching. The captain took several pictures when the sky was brightest, but for most of the time he chose to sit back and enjoy the moment himself, rather than behind a camera lens. It might be the best picture he ever took, but no picture could do justice to what he was witnessing in person. Once the sun set more fully and the color started to fade, Quixley turned towards Captain Finian. "I thought I'd heard that there was an intelligent species on this planet." "There is," Captain Finian replied. "Well, where are they? Don't they know what's happening out here? Why haven't they come out to see it?" "I'm not sure, Quixley," Captain Finian said. "From what I've heard, they all like to stay inside watching the little screens they have in their homes. Apparently, they find more joy from a little screen than in the mind-boggling beauty their planet offers them nearly every day." "How strange," Quixley responded. "They must be a very peculiar species. What are they called again?" "Earthlings," Captain Finian said. "Although I think they call themselves humans. They're definitely an interesting bunch. We risked our lives just to see one of their sunsets, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I can't imagine why they wouldn't even walk out of their houses to appreciate it." "How sad," Quixley said. "Indeed," responded the captain. After standing there in silence for several more minutes, watching the last bits of color disappear, they started to head back to their ship. They had accomplished what they had set out to do, and they were both grateful for the opportunity to watch such a beautiful scene. Back in the ship, Quixley printed and pasted the final photo into his book, while Captain Finian uploaded the picture to the online portfolio. Finally, they could head back home in glory and rest from their travels. Until, of course, the next adventure started. "Heidi-ho, let's go!" Quixley yelled as they lifted up off the ground and started to soar back towards space. Captain Finian chuckled and watched Earth get smaller and smaller behind them as they flew away. "Indeed, my good friend. Hi-de-ho, let's go."